Have you ever looked at a big city skyline and wondered who truly owns all of that? And what if the answer is no one you can see? In the depths of the global economy, far from the spotlight, invisible entities operate. They have no offices, no employees, not even a public voice. Yet, these ghost companies move billions in hidden wealth, silently deciding the fate of entire markets from the shadows. They aren't glitches in the system. They are the global control system. If you feel that shedding light on these shadows of power is urgent, your support is crucial. By liking and subscribing, you're not just supporting a video, you're strengthening a community that demands transparency. Let us know in the comments what you think about this invisible world. But the big question remains, how can something that exists only on paper dominate physical reality? The answer starts now. Case 1. Companies without operations. To truly understand the nature of these entities, we need to deconstruct the image we all have engraved in our minds about what a company is. Since the Industrial Revolution, we have been conditioned to associate the concept of a corporation with a tangible physical presence. Smokestacks, belching smoke, bustling offices, the sound of ringing phones, the rush of employees coming and going, the production of goods we can hold in our hands. This is the visible face of the economy, the one sold to us in history books and on the daily news. However, the true machinery of global wealth operates on a completely different plane, in a parallel reality, where capital transformation happens in absolute silence. We are talking about companies that exist without existing. If you were to visit the official address of one of these companies, you wouldn't find a smiling receptionist or an executive boardroom. You would likely find only a mailbox in a modest building on a distant island, or a filing cabinet in a law firm located in an anonymous skyscraper. What is fascinating, and simultaneously disturbing, is realizing that this single mailbox can be the headquarters for thousands of different companies. This is where the hidden truth begins to reveal itself. These entities were not created to operate in the traditional sense. Their purpose is not to generate value through work or innovation, but rather to serve as a conduit. They are legal architectures designed specifically to separate the asset from its owner, creating a legal abyss where liability is diluted. Behind the scenes of this financial theater, elite lawyers and accountants construct these structures with the precision of a watchmaker. Ensuring that, on paper, everything looks legitimate, while in practice, reality is distorted. The shell company is the triumph of form over substance, an entity that possesses legal rights, can buy property, sue people, and hold bank accounts, yet possesses neither body nor soul. It is a purely functional vehicle, a tool that allows the investment decisions of an oligarch or a multinational conglomerate to remain invisible to the public eye, and often to tax authorities themselves. This phenomena requires a shift in our own mindset regarding how the world works. We must stop looking for the physical trail and start understanding the abstraction. The impact of these companies on the real economy is devastatingly concrete, influencing housing, prices in your city, or the currency stability of your country, but their origin remains ethereal. They function like airlocks for money. Funds enter, lose their previous identity, mix with other flows, and exit laundered or simply It is a journey of capital that defies geographical and moral borders. Unlike a normal company, which seeks to be known and build a brand, the shell company seeks total anonymity. Its success is measured by its public If no one knows it exists, then it is fulfilling its function perfectly. Now, I want to go even deeper into this subject and explore the psychology behind this architecture. Because this isn't just about tax evasion or hiding illicit money. It is about control. The creation of these layers of protection reflects a deep need of the global elites to isolate themselves from the consequences of their actions. When an operating company commits an environmental crime or goes bankrupt, leaving massive debts, the shell company that owns it and, by extension, the human beings at the top of the pyramid remain untouchable. The corporate veil is almost impenetrable. The revelations that occasionally emerge in leaks, like the Panama Papers, are merely momentary glimpses of a network that is vast and constantly It is a cat and mouse game where the rules are written by those who have the most to hide. These structures allow ownership to be fragmented and dispersed in such a way that the concept of owner becomes obsolete. A private jet might belong to a company in the Virgin Islands, which in turn is owned by a company in Delaware, which is managed by a trust in Singapore. Who owns the jet? The system was designed so the answer is no one and everyone. This engineering of silence is what allows billions of dollars to float above national laws, untouchable and undetectable. It is the ultimate form of privatization, the privatization of the law itself. And while ordinary society lives under strict rules of transparency and accountability, the capital flowing through these shell companies enjoys absolute freedom, moving at the speed of a click, without leaving footprints in the sand. If you can visualize this parallel reality where money moves without a face, write in the comments just the word, invisible. Case 2. Jurisdictions designed for silence. For a shell company to thrive, it doesn't just need a creator willing to hide their fortune, it needs a habitat. A legal ecosystem meticulously designed to allow invisibility to flourish. This is where we enter the fascinating and disturbing world of secrecy jurisdictions, often dubbed tax havens, though their primary function goes far beyond mere tax evasion. These territories, which can range from isolated tropical islands to states nestled in the heart of Western powers, have discovered that their sovereignty is their most valuable asset. They have commodified their own laws, turning national legislation into a luxury export product. The mentality governing these places is radically different from what we are used to. Their opacity isn't a bug in the system, it is the main feature of the service being sold. When the global elite decides to move capital, they aren't looking for physical infrastructure or skilled labor, but rather the comfort of the dark. They guarantee that the prying eyes of regulators, ex-spouses, or creditors will hit an insurmountable barrier. In these sanctuaries of capital, bureaucracy, which normally serves to record and organize societies, subverted to disorganize the truth. Commercial registries exist, yes, but they function like locked vaults. If you try to look up who the true beneficiary of one of these companies is, you would find only a void, or worse, a labyrinth of names leading nowhere. It is a frustrating journey, designed to exhaust anyone looking for answers. The impact of this on the global economy is immeasurable, as it creates brutal while the small business owner has their financial life exposed and audited. Massive flows of money navigate these underground channels, protected by laws that make the disclosure of information a more serious crime than money laundering itself. It is backstage in these jurisdictions that financial reality is where toxic assets are given a new guise, and where the origin of dubious fortunes is erased from history books. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, and dissect the central figure that allows this mechanism to run without friction. The nominee directors, in many of these jurisdictions, the law requires the company to have a local director. To solve this inconvenience, law firms provide people whose only function is to lend their name and signature. Imagine an individual who on paper manages thousands of companies, sits on hundreds of boards, and signs off on investment decisions, moving billions all without ever knowing what these companies actually do or who the true owners of the money are. These people are legal human shields. Their existence creates an extra layer of insulation between the act and the actor. Strategic decisions are made thousands of miles away, in London, New York, or Moscow, but legally, everything happened in a modest room in the Cayman Islands or Panama. This structure reveals a hidden truth about modern capitalism. Accountability has become optional for those who can pay for it. Secrecy jurisdictions sell immunity. They allow for a dangerous transformation of the social order, where elites can choose which laws to obey, selecting the legal code like choosing a dish from a menu a la carte. If your country's laws are too restrictive, you simply move your legal headquarters to a place where those restrictions do not exist. The revelations that emerge when this veil is momentarily lifted show us that we are undealing with isolated cases of corruption, but with a global and institutionalized industry of concealment. Secrecy is the strongest currency in this market. It buys time, it buys impunity, and above all, it buys the power to act without being seen. It is a system where silence is golden, literally. If you can grasp how this silence is the true commodity being sold, write the word silence in the comments. Case 3. Layers of wealth, until the trail is lost. The most naive belief we can harbor about this shadow ecosystem is that public exposure or tougher laws are enough to dismantle it. When we see global headlines about massive leaks or corruption scandals toppling governments, we are led to feel a false sense of justice, as if light has finally conquered darkness. However, the reality behind the scenes is far more resilient and cynical. What we are witnessing is not the end of ghost companies, but their transformation in real time. Like a virus mutating to resist a vaccine, these corporate structures possess a biological capacity for adaptation. When a jurisdiction becomes too visible or burned by public opinion, capital doesn't disappear. It simply migrates. It is a Darwinian journey of survival, where only the most discreet and complex survive. The company that is shut down today due to a criminal investigation is reborn tomorrow with a new name, new directors, and based on a new island keeping. The same assets and the same beneficiaries, but now armored by an extra layer of precaution, learned from past mistakes. This regenerative capacity reveals an operational mindset that is always 2 steps ahead of regulators. While legislators debate new rules in slow, bureaucratic parliaments. The architects of hidden wealth have already designed the next legal loophole. It is a game of cat and mouse, where the mouse designs the maze. The hidden truth is that instability and scrutiny are not existential threats to this system. They are merely operational costs, inconveniences that are quickly absorbed and bypassed. The closing of a shell company is handled with the same administrative coldness as discarding a used plastic cup. It served its purpose and is replaced by another, new and immaculate. Decisions to dissolve and reincorporate entities are made in seconds, automated by financial algorithms that detect risk and move assets at the speed of light, rendering traditional tracking attempts obsolete before they even begin. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject and confront the uncomfortable fact that these companies don't survive just because they are cunning, but because they are systemically necessary. There is a deep symbiosis between the clean, legitimate economy and this gray underworld. Big banks, respectable pension funds, and the multinational corporations we consume from every day use these structures to optimize profits, reduce tax burdens, and facilitate international transactions that would be too slow or costly through conventional channels. The impact of this is that the global financial system has become dependent on the very opacity it claims to fight. Abruptly removing every shell company in the world would cause a devastating liquidity shock. Money would stop flowing, deals would crumble, and markets would collapse. They are the invisible grease that keeps the gears of global capitalism spinning without friction. This interdependence creates institutional protection. Revelations about tax havens rarely result in deep structural changes, because the guardians of the system, major law firms, global auditors, and financial lobbyists are also its architects. They sell compliance by day and evasion by night, operating in a moral gray zone where the letter of the law is followed, but the spirit is violated. We are talking about a highly sophisticated professional service industry, staffed by the brightest minds from Harvard and Oxford, dedicated to ensuring that wealth remains undetectable. The journey of money through these structures cleanses it of any original sin, allowing funds from corruption or organized crime to re-enter the legal economy as luxury real estate investment or venture capital in tech startups. The true resilience of shell companies does not come from secrecy, but from complicity. They are immortal because the financial system, as we have designed it, does not know how to live without them. If you can perceive that this structure is built to never fail, write just the word system in the comments. Case 4. Why ghost companies never disappear. The true mastery of this invisible architecture doesn't lie in its ability to hide, but in its functional immortality. When we look at the recent history of major financial scandals, we are tempted to believe a narrative of justice. Laws tied in, tax havens are pressured, and shell companies are dissolved. But this is a superficial view, an optical illusion designed to pacify public opinion. The hidden truth is that the extinction of a ghost company rarely means the destruction of the wealth it harbored. On the contrary, dissolution is often part of the entity's life plan, a pre-programmed defense mechanism. These structures are like disposable shipping containers. They were made to be used and abandoned at the first sign of danger, while the valuable cargo de capitais offloaded to a new vehicle, more modern, more opaque, and even harder to trace. We are witnessing a continuous transformation where the old guard of Swiss numbered accounts has given way to financial instruments of staggering complexity involving crypto assets, synthetic derivatives, and unregulated investment funds. The mentality of the global financial elite is no longer to hide money under the mattress, but to keep it in perpetual motion. Speed is the new secrecy. If capital moves fast enough across multiple jurisdictions and asset classes, it becomes virtually invisible, existing everywhere and nowhere at the same time. This phenomena creates a reality where shell companies don't disappear. The legal entity dies, but the economic power it represented remains intact, often resurfacing with a new, respectable identity in the luxury real estate market of Lisbon, London, or New York. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject and explore how this persistence distorts the very reality we live in. The impact of these reincarnations is felt in the daily life of the common citizen, even if the origin is invisible. When you see an entire building in your city center sitting empty for years, or when the cost of living skyrockets without an apparent local economic justification, you are often feeling the breath of a ghost company. They use real estate and art, not just as investments, but as value bunkers. Money stops being numbers on a screen and solidifies into concrete and brick, integrating into the real economy in a way that makes it untouchable. At this stage of the journey, dairy, or hidden capital, has already been washed through so many layers of transactions that it has become indistinguishable from legitimate capital. This is where the system closes the loop. Behind the scenes, there is an entire industry of consultants, bankers, and brokers whose function is to ensure this transition happens without friction. Their decisions shape the global flow of money, prioritizing the anonymity of their clients over the stability of nations. They sell the narrative that financial privacy is a fundamental human right, equating the concealment of billions to the protection of an ordinary citizen's personal data. This false equivalence is the moral foundation that allows the system to perpetuate its existence. The revelations that occasionally emerge are merely glitches in the matrix, operational errors in a system designed to be perfect. And when the law tries to intervene, it faces an enemy that has no physical body to arrest, nor a conscience to punish. The most disturbing part is not that these companies flee the law, but that the law was often written to accommodate them. Powerful lobbyists ensure that, even when new regulations are passed, there are always exemption clauses, windows of opportunity, and grace periods that allow for adaptation. It is a vicious cycle where regulation fuels innovation and evasion. The complexity of the financial system has become such that opacity isn't a bug. It is an essential feature for its liquidity. If we suddenly pulled all the ghost money out of the markets, stock exchanges would tremble and banks would falter. This toxic dependency guarantees that, regardless of political rhetoric, secrecy structures will continue to evolve, becoming increasingly abstract and distant from public understanding. What started as a way to avoid taxes has transformed into a parallel infrastructure of global power, a dark web of finance operating in broad daylight. If you can see how this financial immortality affects the real world around you, write just the word eternal in the comments. We imagine power as something visible: massive offices, logos, famous faces. But real influence is faceless. It moves in the silence of paperwork, where fortunes become untouchable. The question is no longer whether these companies exist, but rather how much of the world around you already belongs to them without anyone knowing. If this investigation has given you a new perspective on financial reality, subscribing to the channel is the natural next step so we can continue unraveling these mysteries together. Leave a like if this content resonated with you, and to let me know you made his full journey behind the scenes of the system, write the phrase invisible power in the comments. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper. Share this with someone who believes money always leaves a trail. And stay curious.